this is how to get to do maintenance on the system. You have to be logged in as tech, which it is. I'm going to log in. Username is tech. The password will be a specified password. You'll have to get from your maintenance guy. Enter. Now I'm logged in as tech. I can get it to the maintenance screen. Under maintenance, you have several settings. You can disable the messages to the marquee saying that different lanes are down. Right now, the controller interlocks are bypassed. That way we can run without the controller. I can disable. Now we're at the mercy of the controller. If the controller tells us stop, we stop. This is your reject speed. That's the reject down the line. Those flipper fingers that kick the books out. They're running it at 16 lines a second. You can speed them up or slow them down here by clicking on this and typing a numeric input between 5 and 30. Configuration mode right now is disabled. If you put this in configuration mode, your lights down here will indicate that the controller. Oh, I gotta turn my interlocks back off in a second. Basically right now the red light is a signal from the controller. The controller is telling every pocket to feed right now. The blue light is the position where the pocket is looking for the feed signal. And basically what the theory is that the feed signal needs to come on before the blue light. The feed signal comes on, then the blue light comes on while the red light's on to capture the signal. That's so you can tell if the feed signal is in proper position for the pocket to pull. So or less you can see what the controller is telling the pocket to do. That's something that you might use whenever you're having problems wiring a pocket feeding. Then when you take it out of that mode, the lights go back to their normal function. It's like if you had a jam, they will alternate. And if a pocket misfeeds, the red light will come on. Main conveyor, decel, and axle. Basically, we showed you in a previous video how to change the speed of the conveyor, but you can change how fast the conveyor starts and stops based on, you know, by this here. Like let's say you want the conveyor to stop faster when the stop button's pressed, you can lower this, or you keep from damage, you want to have that high enough that it stops, that it doesn't junk a bunch of books out, but yet it doesn't fault the drive out either. Upper reject and lower reject move, those are those eccentrics on the reject over here. If you look down in there, you can see that there's those eccentrics. You can change their timing to get them squared up more. By hitting those buttons, it will bump them forward in just a little bit of a motion. So in case you take a belt off, they might have good book reject move. That is to position the end reject, the divert rather. Here's your divert conveyor. Right now it's in a position where the book is supposed to flow through. If for some reason that got out of time, you can adjust that by hitting that move, and that move will increment it up and down, and once you've got it set to where you want it, it will automatically home it out, so in the future it will return to that position. You always want to home it in the up position like what you see. The eccentric timing, that is to time the this cam in the caliper, the lower eccentric. I don't know if you can bring that over here or not. Let me see it. I can't get in there. Okay, there it is. You see the eccentric, it's supposed to be up in the high position whenever it's teaching a book. And notice that high bearing too, we'll be discussing that later. But the lower black one, there you go. The lower black one, you can hit this button, it will bump that thing up and down till you can get it to the high side. And when you're doing that, you're also teaching it where it's supposed to be high up in a conveyor. Like we want when the book is about right here. And I'll jog this here. We wanted to check the book somewhat in the center. So when you adjust that, you need to put the conveyor chain in position, then jog that centric all the way up to the high side, and it will remember that, and that's how you would time this in. You should not have to change that at all, but if for some reason you change a belt or something, you may have to reposition. Appreciate it if you call me before you do that. Arm home, what that does, if you hit this button, it will drop that bearing I showed you earlier in the video. It will drop that down onto this. It will actually bring the black eccentric up to the high side, drop the arm down to touch it, say this is 0, and then we'll raise back up. As you can see, it's slightly above that. So that's how you can re-zero out the caliper if it got out for some reason, like you took the arm off. BCT register 0 position. What that does, earlier I showed you in the caliper program thing that this is your caliper position where it's checking it at. You can change that by hitting this button, jog the conveyor where it needs to be, and then 0 that out. You may have to do that if you change the main chains or something like that, but basically the idea is we want to check the caliper. Oh, I'm sorry, take that back. Actually, that's where the spot where it shifts that register, the BCT information. So we want that to shift right somewhere after, as soon as the book is past the caliper. See, it's right here. We just got past the caliper checkpoint. That's where we want to shift the information for this next book. So that was where you hit that button so that the shift register works properly. And in the caliper arm up position, basically you notice that little bearing, upper bearing, is slightly above the eccentric. It's 5 position units up ahead. You may want to raise that or lower it. Since this is a new system, I'm not sure what that value, but this has worked good. So if you were to set that at 0.01, it would be